here with Herb Morton, and I called him up and said, what are some of your favorite historical places in Tyngsboro? And he said, most of them aren't here anymore. So I said, Herb, what do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of places have burnt down over the years, especially the very older places, and some have been torn down to make way for other buildings.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to preserve the buildings, but over the years they get burned down or torn down early in the morning when people aren't paying attention.
Oh boy.
Tyngsboro used to be part of Dunstable.
Oh, okay.
Which was 200 square miles. And Edward Ting was a brewer in Boston, and in the 1650s, I believe, he lent money to the King of England because they were at war, and
wow.
The king needed money. So to repay him, they gave him 2,000 acres of land. His son, Jonathan Ting, moved to town, had a garrison house to protect the residents from the Indians, and he named Dunstable after the town where his mother was born, in England. Because the meeting houses and churches were synonymous, and people didn't want to travel too far to church, and that's why separate towns began to break off.
Yep.
Because the meeting house was too far away for them.
Yep.
And Tyngsboro was the last town to break away. In 1809, it became its own town. Back then, everybody was pretty much self-sufficient. There were wheelwrights and blacksmiths and everything else, but everybody had their own farm and tried to take care of themselves. And when Lowell sprung up in the 1820s, Tyngsboro became a place to go to get out of the city, to come to the country. And people were building summer homes and campgrounds and that sort of stuff.
Because of the lakes and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a trolley came up from Lowell, went to Nashua. Right now, I guess it's kind of a bedroom community. People love the schools. It's a small town without too much politics, I would say. Too much for me, but yeah, people seem to like it. I've been here my whole life. My grandparents, great-grandparents were from here.
Was this your farm? Was this your homestead?
This belonged to my grandfather's aunts, and I moved in when I was 6 years old. One of their husbands died, and they were both in their late 90s.
Wow.
So we moved in to take care of them. And this was Dunstable when this house was built. And funny story, there used to be a law that if the house predated the town, it was a set flat rate for the taxes.
Nice.
And it was $500 a year.
Wow.
They did away with that in the late 60s, 1970, and the taxes shot right up. And my father tore pieces of the house off. This used to extend out to that tree, and there was another L coming off that part of the house. And so he took them down, full of antiques and everything, just threw everything away.
Wow. Thinking
his taxes would go down, and
of course they didn't
at all.
So Herb, I understand you wrote a book about Tyngsboro.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
It's Images of America. They were going around to every town. They had the sepia-colored covers.
Yep.
Yeah. I used to write for the newspaper, a weekly column, and so a friend of mine asked me if I'd write a book. So it was fun, I guess. I had to talk to a lot of old people around town, getting their memories and old pictures from them and everything, and putting them all together.
That's fun.
Yeah, that was in 1996, I believe.
Nice. So what would you say to people who are thinking about moving here?
I would say it's a good town to live in. There's not too much trouble going on. You know, the police department seems to be good, and the fire department and everything, and it's no high crime. Usual break-ins here and there, scattered, but nothing very exciting, which is good. The older you get, the less excitement you want.
Anything else you think we should know?
Geez, I'm trying to think. I should have more than that, but it's easy access to the highway. It's the only town, one of the only towns separated by the Merrimack River.
Yeah.
The next one down is maybe Lawrence.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Is on
Yep,
both
that
sides.
one is. Yep.
You know, there used to be river boats coming up the river, and back in the late 1700s, 1800s, they'd have logs coming down. The first bridge that they built that predated the arch bridge down here had that, the pilings all set up. The logs were coming down in spring, and they jammed up against it and took everything out so they had to start all over again.
Oh boy. What's your favorite place to eat?
Foots Corner we go to a lot.
Okay.
It's a sub shop pizza place.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, next exit down on the highway.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another place where they tore a house down. It was on a hill, kind of a spooky looking thing, the house on the hill, this old rundown house. And they tore that down to put in that plaza. And you know, you hate to see stuff like that happen because that was like 1790s. Belonged to an old sea captain.
Oh yeah?
Supposedly people used to see his ghost in there. Yeah, a friend of mine lived there when I was a kid. In a witch's staircase, on a back staircase that nobody used. It was very narrow. Went up to the second floor. The top tread, they usually have 3 runners underneath the stair. The first step down had nothing on the left side, only had the 2.
Oh jeez.
So if you headed down the stairs right foot first, you'd be all right, but left foot first, you'd fall. And witches always went downstairs with their left foot first, was the story.
I didn't know that about witches. Cool.
So mind yourself next time you step on the stairs heading down, see which foot you use.
If I go left first, they'll think I'm a witch. Awesome. Well, thanks, Herb. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
This is fun.